Anyway, so that's basically how the thing is set up. There's one God, Olodumare. There's not many gods.
Yes.
You know, Eshu is a divinity. They're divine relative to humans, but they are subservient completely to Olodumare. Okay, they're like the active actors within the frame of God's creation that will interface with human beings and assist them or deter them if they're not respectful in life and in the world. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love it. It's so interesting. One thing I wanted to piggyback on, too, is how you said it's a culture. And I think that it's something that means that that's their everyday way of being, their everyday way of life.
Right.
I think often in the West we kind of don't understand that, you know, as well as you might find in the East, that this aspect of life that we call religion is very much a part of, it's just their culture.
Well, I truly didn't really understand it in the beginning so much because it was 20 years ago for me. And now that I'm 20 years older, I begin to understand the difference between a culture and a pop culture.
Oh, yes.
Okay. You know, Ifa and Orisha turned into kind of like the flavor of the month at one point in the world, you know. And that's how it goes. But the serious-minded continued, you know. So that's all. I'm not criticizing anyone.
But it's just how things go.
Right.
You know, we find that now even listening to you talk about the Orishas and Ifa very much sounds like the Egyptian mythology, which some people believe there's a tie to
there.
Is. Yeah, and then you know we find a lot of that going on nowadays. It's kind of like the flavor of the month as well. Right. But that leads me to my next question. How long you did say how long you've been practicing?
21 years, actually. I was initiated to my Orisha 21 years ago.
Wow.
This month coming up.
Okay. So what drew you into this religion?
I was trying to understand who invented God. Okay. You know, it had come
as opposed to God inventing or creating.
Exactly.
Okay.
It was a mutual joining, as far as I could tell. But I'm not. That's another story. Okay. I was trying to get back to the beginning of things. Okay. I was raised a Christian. I had at one point in my life I'd married a Jewish woman and immersed myself in their culture and got involved with the Kabbalists out of Crown Heights, and I interacted with some Sufis from Persia. And at every point, I could see when they began. Okay. And so I was trying to go as far back as I could, and then I remembered the line of a philosopher or a great teacher who said, "It will take the understanding of the East and the knowledge of the West, and then search." And I pondered over this for really about a decade. What the heck was this? What do they mean? And I finally realized, well, if you're going to do directions, I might as well look. And I figured, well, south is where Africa was from where I was, and I thought, I'll go there. Okay. And I met a Babalawo from Africa named Dr. Afolabi Apega, who was one of the people that really spread the word of Ifa in the United States. And then my own godfather in Ifa, Chief Adebolu Fatumashe, who's now a king in a district in near Ife, initiated me from Ife, from Ile Ife, which was kind of the center of their tradition, of our tradition, you know.
What is a Babalawo?
Babalawo, the word Babalawo means father of the mystery.
Okay.
Okay, and they shave our heads, and after we're 50, we're actually supposed to keep our heads shaved. Okay. Which actually I did at that point become, you know. But anyway, I'm sorry, the question. What is Babalawo? Father of mystery. We never use that term relative to ourselves. We refer to ourselves as Awo, which means mystery. Okay. But father of me is way too big a notion. To be the father of the mystery means one understands it, you know, in a very deep level. So we, even senior Babalawos only refer to themselves as Awo. Okay.
So you are a Babalawo.
I'm a Babalawo. I'm a senior Babalawo, which means I am the owner of Odu. Okay. Olodu. Odu is a representation of the world that we live in, and the world of the Orisha. And the theory is that because I have that, I can the Babalawos who have this, not just myself, are able to move forces to change things.
Okay.
That's the theory.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I think that kind of answers my next question, because I assumed that you were a high priest,
Yeah.
and this is kind of like what being a Babalawo is. Am I understanding that correctly?
Well, there's two levels. There's two initial levels of Babalawo. There's what they refer to as Kekere-awo, who is one who just received Ifa. I'm sorry, there's even one before that, which is when a person receives a Kofo Ifa, which is a hand of Ifa.
Okay.
And then from there, a person may become an Ifa priest, which would be a Kekere-awo. And from there, they can do all kinds of things, but they cannot initiate another Ifa priest, and they cannot give or make Odu. Okay. Once you receive Odu, you can initiate anybody to anything, and then you end up with different specialties, you know,
now,
in the world.
Did you say? I just want to be clear. Did you say what making Odu is?
It's another initiation.
Just
There's multiple. Some of the ones that I've done are called the Ose, which is the wizard. Another one is Odu, receiving my Odu. Okay. I also received it's kind of complicated. It's to be able to make what they call the Yami Ashranga, okay, which is a primordial cult of women. It's a primordial cult of women that actually have no connection directly with Ifa or Orisha. They're a thing in and of themselves. They are primordial forces of feminine energy. It's very complicated. The churches ended up calling them witches, but that's really not the right term. They're the Yami, the mothers. My mother, mine. Okay.
It does sound very intricate, very detailed.
Yes, it is. I mean, the corpus of Odu, which are then the patterns that fall in our divination process, there are 256 basic patterns, and each one of those patterns have a minimum of, I want to say 16, but the number is really much greater, at least 32 variations of the 256. So the amount of knowledge that is organized is 256 to the 32nd power. Wow. Okay, well, this is really a big number. Yeah. Okay, Yoruba say that all of that we need to know is in all that knowledge. And my experience in 20 years is, yes, it's true. And if I were fortunate enough to live another 35 years, I might be through 1/5 of it or 1/100th of it. It's so big.
Well, do you find that practicing Ifa, it sounds so intricate and so detailed. I don't know if I could ever catch on truly, but do you find that practicing it here in the United States is there some hindrances there? Because because it is a culture and a way of life. Our culture in this country, United States, is so very different.
Yes,
obviously. So
there are problems connected to it.
Okay.
First, the clients or the people that come to it have a lot of mistaken understandings of it. I did. Everybody did. Everybody that gets involved misunderstands it.
Yes.
But we're all drawn to it for some reason. I mean, I don't know where to go from there.
Okay. I just wondering, but that's okay. The problems that it might pose practicing it. But I can imagine just listening to you, because I thought I knew, some things about Yoruba, but listening to you, or Ifa, I see that I had no idea, and I can see how it could be problematic practicing that in this
I've had 20 years, and for example, it's a very practical religion. It starts with kids who, when they're very young, who are divined for them to be babalawos or Ifa priests, and their training begins when they're 5. Here, the real drawback is that we begin at a different place in our lives here in this country or in the West than they do at the source. Okay. Here, I was must have been 43 then, or 42. Okay, no, I was younger than that. I was 40-ish when I first started, and from there, I asked my godfathers, how should I go about this? And they had recommended that if I was going to participate in the initiatory patterns of the traditions, that before I did one myself, I should participate in at least 20 Orisha initiations and at least 10 Ifa initiations. And so I did that. Okay. That's how I approached it. Okay. You know, was as close as I could do to what they did. And that took, I think, 10 years, 12 years for me to do that. Wow. I would do divination work for folks, you know, okay. But that's another matter. That's just helping folks in the moment. Okay. You know.
Yes. Okay. What do I want to say? Oh, I'm sorry. You already answered this. It's not so much a polytheistic religion. That was a question I had for you. Are there any doctrines or kind of code of ethics in Ifa? What are some of them?
Yeah, the best words that I've ever heard put to it were by a man named Wande Abimbola, who wrote a book called Iwa Pele. And a friend of mine wrote another book called that, Falokun wrote a book called Iwa Pele. Iwa Pele means basically good character, gentle character. The nature of the religion is devised and established for people to grow and develop good character. Okay? And the Orisha are, in my opinion, are there to help us develop our character, you know, so that we're not maintaining and continuing the processes of pain, suffering, sorrow, and misery in the world, but are basically, as the Buddha said, we're all trying to be bodhisattvas here, you know, and that's the nature of Ifa, you know, is just that. One of the basic doctrines for the Ifa priests is one of the Odu has the line Sotito Sododo, which means speak the truth and tell the facts. He who speaks the truth and tells the facts will have a good life. Okay, and so the idea is you know, that basically work on your. At its best, its spiritual component is to develop one's character, and the other one is to be an honest and upright individual who has who sleeps well at night. I suppose would be the best way to put it. Okay. Okay.
All right. Well, Carl, our time is up.
No way.
Yes, I know. I want to thank you so much.
The heck, I can do this for hours.
I know. I want to thank you for being on our show, Religion Today, and informing us about Ifa. I would love to have you back.
I'll come back.
Thank you. Explain so much more.
I could even bring some objects.
Please.
You know, that we could point to and say, this is what this is and this is what this is.
Okay.
So that people could see them. I didn't know where we were going to go,
but that's great.
Next one I can do.
We'll love that.
Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us on Religion Today. We certainly hope this has been educational for you, because that is what we want to promote, learning. Learning promotes growth. Growth promotes understanding. Understanding promotes community. Thank you for joining us, and see you next time.
Hi, my name is Anita Cromley. I attend Glenville High School. You are watching TV 20. We are Cleveland.